Haeckel's Embryos, which John West mentioned. For Darwin, this was by far the strongest single class of facts in favor of his theory, that the embryos of the most distinct species, in his case he was thinking of vertebrate embryos, embryos of animals with backbones, are closely similar but become, when fully developed, widely dissimilar. And in later editions, Darwin referred to these drawings made by his German contemporary Ernst Haeckel. In the top row, according to Haeckel, we see the early forms of these embryos. So that's a fish, salamander, turtle, bird, and 4 mammals. And they all look like little fish. Well, Haeckel's contemporaries accused him of fraud for distorting those embryos to make them look more similar than they really are. And in fact, he did. These are drawings based on actual embryos of those 5 different classes: fish, amphibian, in this case a frog, turtle, bird, and human. No embryologist would have any trouble distinguishing these from each other. And you can see that in Haeckel's original drawings, they were made to look the same. In 2000, the year icons came out, evolutionary biologist Stephen Jay Gould wrote that we should all be astonished and ashamed by the century of mindless recycling that has led to the persistence of these drawings in a large number, if not a majority, of modern textbooks. And he was absolutely right. But making those embryos look more similar than they really are was not even Haeckel's biggest misrepresentation. Early vertebrate embryos actually start out looking much different. And here's the stage that Haeckel portrayed as the first, and he distorted these to make them look more similar. But if we go back to the earlier stages, the differences are much more striking. And it was Darwin's logic that the early embryos are supposed to show us what we looked like as a common ancestor. So the actual embryological evidence does nothing to help Darwin whatsoever. Yet, years later, we still have evolutionary biologists claiming that the embryos are most similar. Here's Jerry Coyne from the University of Chicago. All vertebrates begin development looking like embryonic fish because we all descended from a fish-like ancestor. Totally false. Textbooks. Here's a 2013 textbook, 2013, using Haeckel's drawings as evidence for evolution. Now, more commonly, modern textbooks redraw the embryos in this fashion. This is Mader's Biology from 2015. But the point is the same. These drawings still misrepresent the early embryos, not quite as badly as Haeckel did, but the point is these all look kind of like little fish, and then they develop into real fish, salamanders, birds, and so on. But remember, the earliest stages are over here, not even part of the drawing. So the drawing omits the early stages because that doesn't fit Darwin's logic. This, again, is zombie science.